It's Tuesday, May 8th. Welcome to Pastor Bob Daily. I want to talk about appearance today and why your appearance is important. You say, well, Pastor Bob, that's an interesting subject coming from you. You know, with piercings and tattoos and long hair and dressed in black and all that stuff. And that's not exactly the appearance I have in mind, although it's part of it. I had an interesting thing happen yesterday. I was eating at a restaurant, and the waitress came up to me and she said, those people over there have a bet. They're wondering what kind of Harley you drive. They just assumed that I was a biker. I look like one. I do look like one. And they assumed that any good biker drives a Harley. And they wondered which kind of a Harley I drove. So I told her, you know, I don't own a bike. I've never owned a bike. I've always wanted to ride, but I'm a horrible driver. I know I'd probably kill myself. Seriously. I said, I'm not, but, you know, my cousin is probably the most famous biker in the world. His name is Sonny Barger, and he's the president of Hell's Angels. And that's the truth, by the way. So she went back, told the people. Their eyes got really big. They came over and introduced themselves, and they said, is Sonny seriously your cousin? We know who he is. We've watched a documentary on television about him. And I said, yeah, he is. And so one of the guys said, well, if Sonny is your cousin, then how is it that you don't ride a Harley? I'm hardly living up to that image, huh? Not at all. But you know, it's interesting. As we were talking, another guy came up and he goes, excuse me, I'm just leaving, but Pastor Bob, you don't know me, but I wanted to shake your hand and tell you how much your ministry has meant to me. And then everybody was really confused because up to that time, they knew I wasn't a biker, but they didn't know what I did for a living. And they certainly didn't think I was a pastor. And, you know, it was kind of funny. As I was leaving the restaurant, I just had to laugh because I think I left those people very, very confused. But I think they also had a good time. Appearance. It's an interesting thing, isn't it? What we assume about somebody because of the way they look isn't always the truth. But you know, sometimes when we're behind the appearance, I'm looking through these eyes and I don't necessarily see my piercings. I don't see my tattoos half the time, and I don't see my hair. I just see what's ahead of me. I see how I'm interacting with people, and I see how people look at me too. And I realize that I have a wonderful opportunity. That I am not stifled by the way I look. The only thing that holds me back is my attitude. Now, some people look like me or more extreme, and they kind of carry it with some anger or with some defense. And they feel like, you know, when people criticize the way they look, or when people aren't so sure about them, or when little children run away from them, as they do with me sometimes too, that they get angry and they can't believe that people can't accept them just for the way they are. And you know, sometimes I think people react to our anger and that kind of defensive attitude that we go into more than they do with the way we look. You know, I have a very full ministry. Not just to the heavy metal community, to the homeless community. Many times I've been in the middle of shopping and somebody's come up and started talking to me and I end up praying with them. So many times I've made friends that of the most unlikely people simply because I'm not going to let the way that I look dictate what my interaction will be with people. I can win them over. I can look at them in the eyes. I can have compassion for them. I can show them my heart. And so can you. So all of you out there who look a little different, and that's a lot of you, it's your responsibility to win people over. Don't hide behind the way you look and say, well, people just don't accept me because of the way I look. Probably not true. They probably don't accept you because of your attitude. Seriously. I really don't have any problems with being accepted. I can always win people over with my attitude. So, it's time, folks, that we get off the defensive and just start living, start loving people. We don't have to all look the same. I think diversity is wonderful. And you ought to be just as diverse as your heart allows you to be. But we should celebrate our diversity. And we should love each other unconditionally. God bless you. Have a great day.